Hello and welcome. I'm Catherine Osborne, President and CEO of Corporate Harmony, and I'll be your host for today's webinar with the help of your certified subject matter experts. I am the author of the book Corporate Harmony, the performance link for today's modern organization, and of the upcoming book Healthcare Harmony, Thriving in the Line of Fire. I am also a licensed affiliate, certified coach, and the Canadian representative for the Centre for Influential Leadership, where we develop leaders for increased productivity, enhanced teamwork, greater initiative, and more agility with change. The Centre's founder, Dr. Michael Frisina, spent his career in healthcare administration and is now an internationally recognized leadership expert, speaker, and author, specializing in the creation of tactical capacity in leaders and organizational teams worldwide. Tactical capacity can be thought of as any behavior that is not a technically explicit behavior. In other words, tactical capacity is the behavior that enables you to be a role model for your direct reports. It's the behavior that guides operational improvements. It's the behavior that creates organizational culture. It's the behavior that guides others through change. And it's the behavior that allows you to sustain excellence on the job. But first, some housekeeping. I would ask everyone to pick up your smartphone or electrical device and turn it off. Then place it in the middle of the table, face down. Thank you. The time we spend together here today is your time and no one else's, and it's important that you enjoy this time without the pressures of the outside world. One of the things that we practice throughout these sessions is the art of being present in the moment with me. The positive presence behavior competencies of influential leadership comprises three distinct yet interrelated behavior domains: self-awareness, which is foundational, collaboration, which is relational, and connection, which is operational. In the self-awareness domain, we look at the foundational elements of what defines who you are as a human, both as a physical being and as a neurochemical electromagnetic being of energy, and how, as a leader, you must be constantly monitoring not only what you say and do in the physical world, but also your thoughts and feelings. It is your ability to create positive emotional energy within your biofield that enables you to achieve the most optimal outcome in life. In the collaboration domain, we studied the relational elements of human interaction that requires you to monitor the area immediately around you, the area within your 20 square feet, as we say in business. You will remember that this area is also known as your biofield and is where your social exchanges with others occur. And it is where you learn the necessary cues in order to flex and adapt to a behavior style different from your own. Today, we are looking at the first operational principle of the connection domain of the positive presence behavior competencies of influential leadership. Dedicate yourself to continuous learning. In the same way that self-awareness is a duty and collaboration is a competency, connection is actually an organizational strategy. Connection establishes the linkage between people who share a similarity, such as the same interests and concerns, friends and associates, careers, status in life, employers, and so on. Connection in its most powerful form is found in direct contact with others. Connection with others is how we define or confirm our personal and professional identity and worth. Others serve as our teachers and students, and they help us grow as human beings. Just as the 4 behavior principles in the self-awareness behavior domain are an integral step in acquiring a collaborative mindset, the 3 behavior principles of the collaboration behavior domain form the foundation for long-lasting positive emotional connection at an organizational level. The behavior domain of connection requires you to take the work you've done on the inside, together with what you've been learning, and actually deliberately put it into practice in your work environment. But first, before we dive into that, let's begin today with a personal check-in. So please, take a deep, deep breath. It is now time for a personal check-in. This means that it's a time to be mindful, a time to pause and ask yourself questions. For the remaining sessions of the Positive Presence Behavior Competencies of Influential Leadership, we will be accompanying your personal check-ins with brainwave music. You will remember that brainwave music has been proven to move a person into a more positive mental and emotional attitude. The clip that you are hearing is typical of the theta brainwave state, which has proven benefits such as deeper connection to one's emotions, increased intuition, greater levels of energy and relaxation, enhanced self-awareness, and a greater ability to enter into a highly focused, effortless learning state. So please, close your eyes and take a deep, deep breath and repeat with me, either silently or aloud. What sort of feelings have I had since my last check-in? And count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. What have my thought patterns been like since my last check-in? And count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. What have my behavior patterns been like since my last check-in? And count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And open your eyes. A personal check-in is also a good opportunity for you to do a physical body scan. You've been sitting for a while now, and you will need to stretch your muscles. So either sitting or standing, make a conscious effort to bring your body to a state of relaxed anticipation. Beginning at the top of your head, as you slowly breathe in and then out, I want you to first consciously acknowledge your scalp, and then focus on relaxing your scalp. Next, consciously acknowledge your face, and then focus on relaxing your face. Now, your arms and your hands. Gently shake them out. Now your chest, your abdomen, your hips, your legs, and your feet. Wiggle your toes and stretch it out. And count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now, if you're standing, please take a seat. And again, please close your eyes. This time, I would ask you to repeat after me either silently or aloud. Please allow my mind to be open and accepting of all information coming to me, that I may think upon it in the days to come. And now open your eyes. The stress of today's work environment is not going away. In healthcare particularly, the demands, the chaos, the uncertainty, and the lightning-fast changes are likely not going to change either. However, what we can do is learn to respond to it in a positive and healthy manner. And as you gradually become more self-aware, you will find yourself faced with thoughts and feelings that are perhaps not serving you well. Worry, frustration, anger, malice, jealousy. Any thoughts or feelings that are negative in nature do not serve to strengthen you, neither emotionally, mentally, or physically. It is important to understand that everyone has those kinds of thoughts and feelings, and they do not mean that you are bad or wrong. Many people, in fact, are pre-wired for the negative, and are completely unaware of the self-harm that results. And that is why self-awareness and the skill of positive presence is so important. There is a power within you just waiting to be called upon. It is your inner strength, and it is living and it is powerful within you. You can be assured your inner strength is there. Expanding your inner strength takes you on a journey of the mind. It leads you to new ways of thinking, new perspectives, and a new vision of the world around you. And like any skill, it can be developed, but it does take constant practice. And just like exercising muscles at a gym, exercising your mind builds your inner strength, and so too your cognitive strength. Inner strength is needed for doing a good job, for success in business, for studying, losing weight, exercising, maintaining good relationships. It's needed to change habits, self-improvement, meditation, spiritual growth, keeping promises, and for almost everything else. As your inner strength expands, so too will your willpower, your self-discipline, persistence, focus, and perhaps most importantly, as your inner strength expands, so too will your peace of mind. To do this takes practice and quiet time. That being said, you have that time right here, right now, and I will guide you through a very simple and time-efficient mini-med, which I've adapted from my friend Dina Proctor's 3x3 at www.dinaproctor.com. So please, close your eyes and take a deep breath. Welcome to the mini-med for expanding your inner strength. For these couple of minutes, I invite you to sit comfortably. And as you let your body settle in, let yourself feel your shoulders relaxing. Let yourself feel your thoughts releasing. And allow your body, your mind, and your entire being to find a place of complete stillness and relaxation. Feel any tension, any thoughts that no longer serve you, just melt right out of your body and your mind. As you settle into that place of calm stillness, I invite you to get in touch with what it feels like when you're inspired and you're feeling that place of inner guidance and inner strength guiding you. You are never alone. There is always that inner place of power, peace, and wisdom that you can tune into and be strengthened and nourished from. Allow yourself to settle into that space, to be held, to be nourished, to be inspired by the power within you that's greater than yourself and much greater than any circumstance or situation that's going on in your life. Getting in touch with that place of peace, power, wisdom, and inner strength helps any problem or situation pale in comparison. There is nothing that this place of highest wisdom can't handle. So let yourself feel that infinite wisdom, that peaceful strength grow and expand and saturate every level of your body and of your being right now. Feel it expand. Feel it nourish. Feel it bring gentle wisdom and peaceful strength to every level of your being. Now, let your body take one last breath in, right now, feeling that peaceful inner strength embodied and anchored in every level of your being going forward. Come back to awareness. Notice your surroundings. What do you see? Is there anyone beside you? Across from you? What sounds do you hear? The complexity, ambiguity, and relentless pace of today's world places gigantic demands on business leaders in every industry. More often than not, leaders are working incredibly hard and yet feel that they are not meeting their own expectations of excellence. They are left overburdened and disconnected from their own values. Amid these overwhelming circumstances, leaders are expected to make fast, rational decisions with a focused, clear, compassionate, and creative mind. Mindfulness training is often associated with meditation practice, but it has become much, much more than that. Mindfulness is defined as paying attention in the present moment, non-judgmentally. Mindfulness harnesses our capacity to be aware of what is going on in our bodies, our minds, and our hearts as we maneuver in an unavoidable sea of constantly changing events which demands that we change and adapt, often at lightning speed. This demand by the environment for us to continually change and adapt can, and most often does, create stress. Stress is a relational transaction between ourself and our environment, during which we perceive and appraise events as threatening, in that they are overtaxing to us in some way. Changing the way we see ourselves in relationship to these stress-triggering events can actually alter the events themselves. We have an innate desire for stability, although life itself requires that we must be in a continuous change mode. Mindfulness is a way to train the mind, but also includes paying attention to the body and the world around us, and helps us recognize that we are not a slave to our thoughts, but rather we can choose how to respond. There is plenty of evidence, including from the mental health arena and the field of neuroscience, showing how mindfulness can help reduce stress. The practice of mindfulness provides a way to cope with the challenges, complexities, and ambiguity of our times. Studies indicate benefits such as heightened emotional intelligence, improved decision-making and strategic thinking abilities, a heightened ability to focus, enhanced creativity, increased engagement in work, more energized and less anxious, and fewer symptoms of stress. Mindfulness practices can be used to help strengthen our skill of positive presence, the skill of adjusting and creating a positive and energized mindset within ourselves through conscious thought processes. Benefits of workplace meditation are becoming increasingly clear. Participants feel less depressed and less emotionally exhausted, and above all, less stressed. We have figured out every possible way to exercise our physical body. The next frontier is our mind, to get the most out of our brains so that we can handle the mega pressures of the information era. Today, meditation is being used by a large cross-section of society, from the military to large corporations. The benefit of stress reduction is slashing corporate healthcare costs, building emotional resilience, happiness, and an overall more positive outlook on life. Research shows that constant information overload sends the brain into the fight or flight stress response, originally designed to protect us from man-eating tigers and other threats. Studies showed that 50% of knowledge workers' day is spent managing information, and that constant information overload sends the brain into the fight or flight stress response. In a high stress level state, we lose our ability to make decisions, process information, and prioritize tasks. Meditation has been found to lower levels of the stress hormone cortisol and decrease the size of the amygdala, the part of the brain associated with sensing threats and triggering the fight or flight stress response. Meditation has also been found to trigger psychological changes of relaxation, such as lower heart and respiratory rates, lower blood pressure, and lower oxygen consumption. There is an increase in the activity in the left prefrontal cortex, which is associated with positive emotions, thus increasing one's ability for focus and concentration, empathy, decision-making, self-awareness, and for more adaptive responses to negative or stressful events. Meditation is actually exercise for the mind and trains the mind to be present and go beyond all thought, strengthening the muscle of the mind by placing focus on the present. Where we focus is a choice, and with practice, our mind becomes more adept at staying in the present by our control. As we hold our mind in the present, the mind calms, and our body will follow suit. We are then able to respond to situations rather than react to them. We can communicate more effectively with compassion and empathy as opposed to judgment or ridicule. This change occurs naturally and with gentleness. All emotions are part of the human experience. In meditation, we learn to be in relationship with all of our emotions, good and bad, and to see them as energy in motion, allowing it to move through us and beyond us for greater emotional and physical well-being. It's not about being perfect. It's about finding acceptance of where we are right in the moment and giving ourselves permission to be there. The goal for meditation is to realize the lasting beneficial effects created by the plasticity of the brain, allowing it to actually change the way it makes connections. In a deadline-driven workplace, empathy is often the first thing to go as the focus narrows from people and relationship to task completion. The more and faster we are pushed, the more need there is to maintain a healthy mind. Using meditation, we can dump the subconscious emotional burden and learn to light up the happy hormones, clearing away the clouds to experience clearer thinking, improved decision-making, and a heightened awareness of self to take in information effectively and respond nimbly and creatively. Connection is the third behavioral domain of the positive presence behavior competencies of influential leadership. It is this third domain that validates and puts into practice the two lower-level domains of self-awareness and collaboration. The connection behavior domain is operational and strategic in nature, both for you personally and also at the organizational level. Employing the principles of the self-awareness behavior domain enables leaders to initiate connections with their employees. While trust and accountability, two of the imperative principles of collaboration, allow leaders to sustain these connections. In this way, connection is a strategy that enlightened leaders use to demonstrate they care for and understand the needs of their employees. A deep connection between the leader and employees raises everyone's level of energy, engagement, motivation, and performance. Success in every dimension of life is related to your ability to connect with others. It is also true that your success is directly related to your ability and willingness to learn, to change, to adapt, and to grow. Relationships, by their nature, require constant and consistent tending. So it is that continuous learning is, in essence, being alive. The first behavior principle of the connection behavior domain is dedicate yourself to continuous learning. The quality of the care you put into any relationship translates into either a negative or a positive experience. That is, every one of your interactions is perceived by the other person as good or bad. It is human nature that both positive and negative experiences of behavior have a cumulative effect. The more your interactions are seen as negative, the less likely you are to develop connections with that person. If you want to increase the positive experiences and thus enhance your connections, you have to improve your behavior. The way you improve your behavior is by continuously learning to flex and adjust your behavior style in order to experience a positive connection with every person you touch in every human relationship. As you develop your skill of positive presence, your ability to form positive emotional connections with other people will increase your influence among your followers and your peers. In a constant changing business climate where everything is vulnerable and in a state of flux, a strong connection between leaders and employees is especially necessary. As humans, we are social beings, and as such, we can never replace or underestimate direct, one-on-one contact. Dedicating yourself to continuous learning means investing in your future. Don't just work on your job, work on yourself. Commit to the journey of continuous personal improvement. Be a student for life. Always be learning and improving you. Your success in every dimension of life is directly related to your ability and willingness to learn. You can only do what you learn to do. Learning is an investment in your future. It is important to continuously learn and grow throughout your lifetime. As children, we had to learn in order to grow to maturity. We had to learn to walk, talk, and interact with others. We had to learn right from wrong. We had to learn how to tie our shoes, tell time, and ride a bicycle. We had to learn how to add and subtract, read and write, and successfully and safely work with the laws of nature. We had to learn how to work productively at home, in the fields, and in the marketplace. But learning should not stop at childhood or when we graduate from school. We must continuously learn and grow throughout our lifetimes. As a leader, at the very least, you have to be continually learning about who your leaders and co-workers are, who your peers are, who your followers are. What is their behavior style? How will you flex and adapt to their behavior style in order to effectively communicate, perform, motivate, and inspire? As an example, in today's knowledge economy wrought with complexity and chaos, there is no lack of workplace barriers and emotional burdens playing havoc on organizational culture. Your success as a leader is inextricably linked to your ability to pay attention and form the positive emotional connections characterized by trust, meaning, and caring. This paying attention or learning is people-focused and watching for disruptive negative emotions and behaviors in order to mitigate and or remove the barriers and burdens, whatever they may be. Learning is an active process that influential leaders commit to and invest in. Committing to a daily routine and process of continuous learning and personal improvement is an investment of your time, energy, and personal resources, and it is one of the most effective investments you can make in your life. As an influential leader, you must make this investment and be constantly seeking feedback on your performance, discovering new concepts, trying out new ideas, failing forward, growing, and achieving more in your life as a result. Edward Deming said, "You don't have to learn, nor do you have to change. You don't need to survive either." When the stuff of life happens, the events, experience of some kind with these events is inevitable. Whether you learn from the events, particularly an event created by your daily choices, is a choice as well. To learn or not learn from experience is always a choice. The formula, or equation of life, as I like to call it, E plus R equals O, always requires learning. Learning, therefore, is a choice you have to make every single day. Learning requires that you apply your critical thinking skills, manage emotion, slow down the process of acquiring information, and be intentional about reflecting on the outcomes of each event. As we have stated before, each individual must become the change he or she wants to see in others or in an organization. Successful organizational change, transformational change, requires effective personal transformation. If you do not learn from experiences, then you will not change. When you fail to change, you fail to grow, and you fail to adapt to external market changes. This is true for individual growth and performance achievement, as well as for organizational growth and achievement. Experience is inevitable. Learning is not. Learning is not simply taking in more information. When an event happens, what do you do with the experience? React and reinforce old habits? Or do you reflect and learn? What should you do? This slide contains an important message. Stop, reflect, learn, and get better. Again, learning is not simply taking in more information. It is the active process of developing new knowledge and skills that enhance your ability to take effective action. There is a big difference between 10 years of experience and the same experience repeated 10 years in a row. The outcome is always dependent on the effectiveness of your response. If you want a better outcome, learn a different response. Learn a more effective thought process for a better outcome. Learn a more effective behavior for a better outcome. The skill of positive presence does not come naturally to most people. It requires an attitude of continuous learning. Think about this. As you work to chop down a tree, the axe will get dull. You must invest the time to stop and sharpen the axe. Swinging harder as the axe gets duller is not a smart way to work or to live. Sharpen your edge. Invest the time to learn new skills. Invest the time to get clear on who you are. Understand that you are never going to be perfect, and chances are you will never be, nor will you ever want to be, a rocket scientist. But if you follow these well laid out principles and live in a state of self-awareness with a skill of positive presence, you will take flight. It is said, you can care for people without leading them. You can never lead people without caring for them. Connection is an expression of leader compassion, trust, security, and hope. Connection is all about caring. You cannot lead without connecting. So here it is again. Do the foundational work of self-awareness in order to be proactive and take responsibility for improving your skills. Take positive action now to achieve your goals by discovering and establishing your inner core. Identify your values. By creating your personal purpose statement. By accepting responsibility and ownership of yourself. Be the master of yourself, mentally, emotionally, behaviorally, and socially. And discover your primary behavior domain. What are your natural tendencies, and how are they working for you? Do the relational work of collaboration for a culture of collaboration. Take the time to tend to all of your relationships and learn from your experience by changing your thought habits to change your performance, by enhancing your behavior intelligence and your ability to manage your emotions, and by doing what it takes to create and sustain highly effective relationships. Do the operational work of connection. Ensure the protocols and processes are in place that will encourage and support you and your organization to engage in a disciplined process of learning and skill building dedicated to continuous learning, for managing priorities and payoff events, and to incessantly build effective communication skills. Continuous learning as an individual entails a behavior and perception change as you hone and develop your own thinking, your skills, especially the skill of positive presence, and your knowledge. An example of this would be knowing how to handle a new situation, expanding knowledge and skills of a particular area, for example, computer applications and new software, or learning to use a new piece of equipment, and figuring out another application of current knowledge and skills. In this level, learning requires time and effort, as well as the decision to want to learn. It would not be wise to manipulate or force any person to learn something he or she dislikes, because it would fail miserably. The only course of action for you as a leader is to be the example to others and then communicate continuously the value of continuous learning and how it will not only help the organization, but most importantly, it will be a great benefit to the learner as well. Continuous learning for teams is collective individual learning, which means that if the members of the team acquire and share new knowledge and information, then team learning takes place. In addition, continuous learning at this level also involves a set of learning processes that support and aid team performance in the form of reflections, feedback, experimentation, group discussions, and Q&A sessions. New knowledge can be in the form of a theory, a tool, an idea, or concept, whereas a new skill can be in the form of a new process and/or a new practice. In many progressive organizations today, teams have become the most integral element because of their unparalleled ability to create products and perform services, find solutions to problems, and make decisions. In short, teams have the power to make things happen in the organization. Continuous learning, therefore, holds a very significant place in every team that aims to succeed in what it is they were designed for. The need for it arises when teams realize that in order for them to effectively perform their specific functions, they need to acquire a new knowledge or skill. It is basically a means to an end, and if continuous learning is neglected or overlooked, it is difficult for a team to achieve its goals. Members of a collaborative integrated team recognize that each one of its members will never be all that to everyone every day. But when they come together in mutual, beneficial, meaningful purpose, they use each other's strengths and support each other's inevitable limitations. They care deeply for each other and respect each other non-judgmentally. Continuous learning at the organizational level comprises change of interaction patterns, change of policies and procedures, new culture, and new innovations and systems that have been institutionalized. In other words, the changes become embedded in the systems and structures of the organization as a means to achieve overall objectives. These changes are actually felt more in individuals and teams, as it is individuals and teams that fundamentally comprise what the organization is. Developing a strategy for connection can have enormous influence on the way your people think and connect, and plays an important role in fundamental transformation of any business culture and work environment. Developing a culture for connection requires, among other things, a continuous learning in the area of attentiveness, which is the focus on others, alertness, which is the emotional sensitivity of others, and adaptability, which is the resiliency to respond to changing events. Creating and sustaining positive connections within an organization means creating a culture that values and supports the positive connections of your people with each other and with the values and missions of the organization itself. Much like developing self-awareness, developing a culture of connection is a deliberate and willful act. It requires a change in behavior and self-examination of what, as an organization, you want to accomplish. Whether you desire less interpersonal conflict, better performance, fewer miscommunications, greater productivity, fewer turf battles, higher employee engagement, or decreased costs from absenteeism and disability claims, you must learn and apply the behavior skill of making highly positive emotional connections amongst your people. In today's knowledge-based organizations, you can achieve tangible outcomes and performance only through the power of creating and sustaining intangible connections. Change happens through learning. If you don't learn, you don't change. If you don't change, you will not grow and adapt to changing circumstances. Today's world takes no pity on people who get lazy about learning. This is true for individuals and organizations. Successful organizational transformation requires effective personal transformation. Nothing changes until we do. Learning is an investment in the future. Without learning, we limit ourselves to old capabilities that have decreasing effectiveness in life and at work. We must continuously learn and grow throughout our lifetimes. Invest at least 10% of your time in learning and personal development. If you are not committed to lifelong learning, your current skills will become obsolete. Today's knowledge-based economy requires continuous learning. Your effectiveness in dealing with fast-changing threats and opportunities in the future is determined by your ability to learn today. Don't allow short-term urgencies to tyrannize your time and displace long-term improvement. Are you ready to learn? There is a pathway to learning that contains 4 critical steps. Step 1 is exposure. Exposure is awareness. This is where all learning begins. It is where we are first introduced to a concept or a skill. It is being introduced to a new idea, concept, process, or procedure. Unfortunately, many people do not go beyond the exposure level. Learning begins with exposure, but exposure alone is not sufficient for learning. True learning requires that we go much deeper. Step number 2 is practice. Practice is training, developing, and doing. Practice is doing the repetitive work of trying a new skill and developing our ability. Practice allows the repetition of behavior to create a habit. Practice does not necessarily make perfect, but it can make a habit permanent. Practice is the repetition of a thought or a behavior until it becomes second nature. This is why change can be so difficult. The really important things in life require lots of practice. Step number 3 is performance. Performance is action. The only way to tell if you have learned anything is to put the knowledge you have acquired into action. And the 4th step is mastery. Mastery is impact, and it is the objective of all influential leaders. Mastery is the demonstration, the performance of a habit at a high level of skill. Mastery allows for maximum influence and impact in any specific area of your personal or professional life. The discipline you are looking for lies in your ability to focus. Some of us come pre-wired with a laser-like focus, but for most of us, our brains must be trained to focus. In fact, brain research on concussive brain injury has identified that even the slightest of concussions has the potential to impair the ability to focus, resulting in the necessity to retrain the brain for focus. Training for focus can, for some, be a lifelong process of continuous learning. Before we go to table time now, let's take a few moments to listen to a mini-med for super focus as I've adapted from my friend Dina Proctor's 3x3s at www.dinaproctor.com. So please, close your eyes and take a deep, deep breath. Welcome to the mini-med for super focus. For these couple of minutes, I invite you to sit comfortably. And as you let your body settle in, let yourself feel your shoulders just relaxing. Let yourself feel your thoughts releasing and relaxation encompassing your entire body and mind. As you settle into the feeling of relaxation, allow an image of a goal or something you'd love to manifest come into your mind. It can be something simple that you can accomplish today or something you're looking to accomplish in years to come. Let your mind hone in on the detail of what it is you'd like to create. As your mind hones in, let yourself feel that you're getting completely encompassed in what it is you want to create. You have the power and the knowledge within you to reach and exceed this goal. What would it feel like to accomplish this goal and get it done? What would that feeling feel like in your body? What would it feel like in your mind to have accomplished this goal? Feel the energy, the wanting, the inspiration from within to devote all of your focus into manifesting this goal. You may feel your energy increasing. You may feel your creativity slowly increasing or even becoming very clear on what you want to create. Notice any inspired ideas or intuitive thoughts that come to you in this state. Notice yourself feeling relaxed yet energized, inspired deeply from within, and incredibly focused and motivated to achieve your goal. And now, let your body take one last deep breath in, knowing that this energy and these thoughts are grounded and present in solution and love, moving you forward. Come back to awareness. Notice your surroundings. What do you see? Is there anyone beside you? What sounds do you hear? We are now going to take time for reflection. This reflection time is referred to as table time because this exercise is created to be shared with a discussion group of your peers. Feel free to gather around a table with your colleagues or head over to Corporate Harmony's virtual discussion group. This is also a time to stay focused on task. Be present in the moment, right here. You will see notes pages at the end of the manual section for personal use in gathering insights and questions as you move through the material. So take time to put pen to paper. There are never any wrong or bad answers. Seeing your words on paper allows your brain to open up to even greater possibilities. Putting your thoughts and feelings to words on paper opens your mind to your inner wisdom and greatness. Enjoy this time and share your insights with the discussion group. You will find this slide at the top of page 17 of Chapter 8 in your manual. Next session, we will continue looking at the first principle of the operational behavior domain of connection. Dedicate yourself to continuous learning, and you will find out why no two people are the same when it comes to learning. So, until then, live each moment of each day with harmony and purpose, and allow your grandest dreams to come true.